A storm is coming to Heartland, one that has nothing to do with the weather. Because if Amy really walks down the aisle in season 20, this wedding won't just change her life, it could fracture the entire ranch forever. Secrets, doubts, and a choice that could tear generations apart are waiting just around the corner. And the moment Amy says yes, Heartland may never look the same again. Everything begins the morning after Nathan's unexpected proposal, a moment that left fans hanging and Heartland itself trembling. Amy stands in the quiet glow of dawn, still replaying the fireflies, the ring, the promise of a new life, and the weight of leaving behind the only home she has ever known. Her silence speaks louder than any answer, because for once, Amy Fleming is afraid, not of danger, not of heartbreak, but of choosing the wrong future. She knows that saying yes to Nathan means stepping into a new chapter, but it also means stepping out of the shadow of her past, out of Heartland, and out of everything Ty once represented. Jack senses this shift immediately. For decades, he has been the anchor of the ranch, the one Amy could always depend on. But now, he watches her from a distance, noticing the way she avoids talking about the proposal. His fear is simple, yet devastating. Losing Amy not to tragedy, but to life moving forward. He knows that once she leaves, even if it's just a few miles away, the ranch will never feel the same. Lou, on the other hand, walks around with a storm brewing behind her eyes. She wants to be supportive, but part of her is furious that Nathan chose such a vulnerable moment to make such a life-changing request. To Lou, the proposal feels like an ambush, one that could pull Amy away from the family when they need her the most. Meanwhile, Dex becomes an unexpected observer of all this tension. As Katie's closest friend, and something more, he watches the shifts at Heartland with a quiet unease. He can feel how fragile the balance is. Every decision Amy makes ripples through the entire family, and Dex senses that Amy leaving would open a space Katie might not be ready to fill. He doesn't say anything yet, but the way he studies the family suggests he already knows this decision won't be peaceful. As for Nathan, he wakes up believing he has offered Amy everything she could ever want. Love, stability, a home of their own, and a future where she doesn't have to carry every burden alone. But deep down, he fears the one thing he never says aloud: he will never be Ty. And the closer Amy gets to making a choice, the more this fear tightens around his heart. He wants Amy, but he doesn't want the ghost of her past to come with her. Over at the ranch, the silence grows heavier. Lindy feels it too. Children always know when something big is changing, even when adults stay quiet. She looks at her mother with wide, searching eyes, asking questions without words. Amy tries to smile, tries to pretend everything is normal. But Lindy notices the way her mother's voice softens whenever Nathan's name comes up. And that alone is enough to unsettle her. By the end of the section, Amy stands in the middle of Heartland, breathing in the air that shaped her entire life. She looks at the fields, the barns, the horses, the home where she loved, lost, and rebuilt herself. And she knows the truth she has been avoiding. No matter what she decides, someone will get hurt. Because there is no choice that lets her keep everything, only choices that force her to let something go. The tension around Heartland grows heavier as the days pass, because Amy still hasn't given Nathan an answer. And the longer she waits, the more uneasy everyone becomes. Rumors spread quickly across Hudson, and suddenly people are whispering things Amy never expected to hear. Questions about whether she's abandoning the ranch, whether marrying Nathan means she's trying to run away from Ty's memory, and whether Heartland will crumble without her. Every comment stings a little deeper, and Amy starts to feel trapped between the weight of the past and the pull of the future. It's like every corner she turns forces her to confront a truth she doesn't want to face. Jack finally decides he can't stay silent anymore. He sits Amy down not to convince her, but to remind her of one thing. Heartland has always been her home, but home should never become a cage. His voice is calm, steady, but there's a crack underneath that betrays his fear of losing her. He tells her that choosing her own happiness isn't betrayal, yet even he knows that if Amy walks away, the ranch will lose a piece of its soul. Amy listens, grateful, but deep inside she can't help wondering if Jack is preparing himself for her goodbye. That thought alone is enough to shake her. Lou, however, is the one person who refuses to hide her frustration. She loves Amy, but she doesn't trust Nathan. Not fully, not yet. Lou remembers everything the family survived, the years Amy held the ranch together, and the pain they all shared after Ty. To her, Nathan's timing feels suspicious, too quick, too intense, like he's trying to lock Amy into something before she's truly ready. Lou doesn't say it outright, but her eyes tell the truth every time Nathan's name comes up. Amy sees it, Nathan sees it, and it only fuels the silent fire building beneath the surface. Nathan himself begins to unravel in ways he never expected. The confidence he felt during the proposal is gone, replaced by a constant fear that Amy's hesitation means she's slipping away from him. He notices every small sign, the way she pauses before replying, the way her smile fades when the conversation gets serious, the way she keeps glancing toward Heartland as if the place itself is calling her back. Nathan tries to keep calm, but inside he feels something tightening, like he's competing with a ghost he can never outrun. And the worst part is, he knows Amy can sense his anxiety. Meanwhile, Katie grows increasingly protective of her mother and Jack. She sees how fragile the ranch feels and how every decision depends on what Amy chooses. She loves her aunt, but she also fears the future, because if Amy leaves, so much responsibility will fall onto Jack, Lou, and eventually her. Dex notices the stress weighing her down, and though he tries to comfort her, even he can't deny the unease settling over the ranch. It's as if everyone is waiting for an earthquake they know is coming. As the pressure grows, Amy begins to isolate herself. She rides alone, she eats alone. She thinks about Lindy's future, Nathan's love, Jack's fears, Lou's warnings, and the legacy of Heartland, all at once. She realizes that this isn't just about a proposal, it's about choosing the direction of her entire life. And just when Amy finally decides she might be ready to give Nathan an answer, something unexpected happens. A small twist that changes everything, forcing her to question whether love is enough to keep a family, a ranch, and a legacy from falling apart. This is the moment Heartland fans will feel the ground shift, because Amy's decision is no longer just personal. It is now the spark that could ignite a family conflict the ranch has never seen before. Just when Amy thinks she is finally ready to give Nathan an answer, Heartland is shaken by news that hits harder than anyone expects. Early one morning, a notice arrives from the bank about overdue paperwork connected to the ranch. It's not a crisis yet, but it's enough to rattle Jack and Lou. The message is clear. Any major shift in the family, especially Amy leaving, could put the ranch's future in jeopardy. Amy overhears the conversation, and the guilt rushes through her like a wave. Every moment of hesitation suddenly feels heavier, sharper, because now she isn't choosing between two lives. She is choosing whether Heartland itself survives the next chapter. Jack insists everything will be fine. He downplays the bank's message, trying to protect Amy from spiraling. But Amy knows her grandfather too well. She sees the tiredness in his eyes, the pressure weighing on his shoulders. She realizes that her decision isn't just about where she will live. It affects Lindy's life, Jack's stability, Lou's plans, and even the future Katie and Dex are slowly building. This realization hits her harder than Nathan's proposal ever did. Heartland has always depended on her, and now when she is about to choose a new path, it feels like the ranch is reaching out and begging her not to go. Nathan, unaware of the bank situation, senses a shift in Amy but misreads it entirely. He thinks she is second-guessing her feelings for him. The fear he has been quietly battling finally breaks through the surface, and he approaches Amy with an intensity that catches her off guard. His voice is gentle, but his desperation is unmistakable. He asks her if she's pulling away because of Ty, because of the past, because of everything he can't compete with. His vulnerability makes Amy freeze. She doesn't want to hurt him, but she also can't promise something she isn't ready for, not when the ranch feels like it's hanging by a thread. Their conversation becomes the first crack in their once peaceful connection. Nathan wants a life with her. Amy wants clarity, and neither realizes how deeply their differences are starting to cut. As they stand in the middle of the emotional divide, it becomes painfully clear that love isn't their only challenge. Timing is. Heartland needs Amy, Nathan wants Amy, and she is stuck between two futures that refuse to exist together. Meanwhile, Lou becomes increasingly alarmed by the emotional weight Amy is carrying. She watches her sister go quiet, moving through the ranch like someone who's fighting an invisible storm. Lou confronts her gently but firmly, reminding her that the family needs honesty, not avoidance. Amy breaks down in a rare moment of vulnerability, admitting she feels torn between duty and desire. Lou listens, but instead of pushing her toward Nathan or Heartland, she does something unexpected. She tells Amy she deserves a life that isn't built on sacrifice. It's the most supportive Lou has been since the proposal, but the timing only makes Amy more confused. Katie and Dex sense the rising tension and begin to worry about what happens if Amy chooses Nathan. Katie fears the ranch will become a battlefield of grief and resentment. Dex tries to reassure her, but deep inside he feels the same dread. Heartland is changing, and they both know that change doesn't always mean growth. It can also mean loss. By the end of this section, Amy stands at a crossroads more dangerous than any moment she has faced before. She loves the ranch. She loves her family. She feels something real with Nathan. But no matter what she chooses, one side of her heart will break. And for the first time, Amy begins to wonder whether a wedding could not only change her life, but shatter Heartland forever. As the pressure rises around Heartland, Amy begins to sense that time is no longer on her side. Nathan becomes more distant, not because he has stopped loving her, but because he feels like every quiet moment between them is a countdown. He notices the way Amy avoids giving an answer, the way she diverts conversations, the way her eyes drift toward Heartland whenever he talks about the future. For the first time since proposing, Nathan begins to fear that no matter how deeply he loves her, the ranch will always hold the stronger pull. And this fear starts changing him in small, unsettling ways. He becomes sharper, quieter, and his once warm confidence turns into uncertainty that lingers in every word he speaks. Amy, on the other hand, feels herself stuck in a loop of guilt and doubt. She tries to comfort Nathan, but every conversation feels like a test she keeps failing. She wants to give him the happiness he deserves, but she also knows she can't walk into a marriage while her heart is tangled between duty and desire. She tries to imagine her life at Tanner's ranch, peaceful, quiet, full of love, but every image somehow leads back to Heartland. The barns, the horses, the memories of Ty, the family who shaped her, it all anchors her in ways she never fully understood. Until now, Amy realizes she's trying to build a new life without destroying the old one, but that simply isn't possible. Meanwhile, Jack and Lou sense a shift in Nathan's behavior. Something about him feels different, less patient, more guarded, as if he's preparing himself for Amy's refusal. Lou tries to warn Amy gently, telling her that Nathan's insecurity could turn into resentment, if not handled carefully. Jack, however, sees something deeper. He knows what a broken heart can do to a good man, and he fears that if Amy says no, Nathan might not simply walk away. He might fight for her in ways that could tear the peace apart. Jack doesn't say this aloud, but his silence speaks volumes. Lindy is the one who breaks through the tension with her innocent honesty. She asks Amy whether they're really moving away, whether she'll have to leave Heartland, and whether Jack will still be her second dad. The fear in her daughter's eyes cuts deeper than anything Amy has faced. Lindy tries to act brave, but the truth slips out. She doesn't want to leave Heartland. It's her home, her comfort, her entire world. And suddenly, Amy realizes that this decision is not just hers. It's Lindy's too. This only complicates the emotions spiraling inside her. She tries speaking to Nathan about it, hoping he'll understand, but instead, he interprets Lindy's fears as a challenge he needs to fix. He promises Amy that Lindy will adjust, that a fresh start will be good for them, that Heartland shouldn't hold them back. His voice is gentle, but the words sting. It becomes painfully clear that Nathan sees Heartland as the past, and Amy sees it as her foundation. Their conversation turns into the first true argument between them. Not loud, not explosive, but heartbreaking in its quiet honesty. Nathan admits he can't build a life with someone who is only half with him. Amy admits she can't promise a future that pulls her away from the people and the land that raised her. And standing in that emotional divide, they both understand one thing. Love alone isn't solving anything. It may actually be tearing them apart. By the end of this section, Amy realizes she can no longer remain silent. The ranch is on edge. Her daughter is scared. Nathan is slipping away. Lou and Jack are bracing for heartbreak, and the entire future of Heartland is waiting on her next words. Amy knows she must make a choice, one that will either save her relationship or save the ranch. But what she doesn't know yet is that her decision is about to unleash consequences no one in the family is prepared to face. The final wave of tension crashes over Heartland when Amy decides she can't delay her answer any longer. She wakes up before sunrise, her heart pounding, because she finally knows what she has to do, even if the truth will break someone she cares about. The ranch is quiet, the air heavy with the kind of silence that only arrives before something life-changing. Amy walks through the familiar paths she has taken since childhood, touching the fences, watching the horses, remembering every moment that built her into the woman she became. Each step confirms one thing: Heartland isn't just where she lives, it's who she is. And choosing to leave would mean losing a part of herself she can never replace. Nathan arrives unexpectedly that morning, his face tense with the kind of fear a person feels when they already know the answer, but still hope they're wrong. He asks Amy if she's finally ready to talk, and she nods quietly. For a moment, they just stand there, breathing in the cold morning air, both silently preparing for the words that are about to change everything. Nathan looks at her with the same hope he had on the night he proposed, but this time, Amy can't return that hope. Her voice shakes as she begins, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares too much. She tells him the truth she's been avoiding. Her heart can't leave Heartland, not now, not ever, and no matter how deeply she wants happiness, she can't build it on top of a sacrifice that would haunt her for the rest of her life. The moment the words leave her lips, Nathan falls silent. But it's not the silence of shock, it's the silence of heartbreak hardening into something sharper. He tries to smile, tries to act understanding, but his eyes betray him completely. He tells Amy he thought love could overcome everything, that he believed their future was stronger than the past. But now, he sees that Heartland will always come first. And for Nathan, that truth cuts deeper than any rejection. He leaves before Amy can say anything else, walking away with a mix of grief and disappointment that hangs in the air long after he's gone. Amy's legs nearly buckle under the emotional weight, but before she can fall apart, Jack appears behind her. He doesn't say much, he simply puts a hand on her shoulder, a silent gesture that speaks louder than any words. Amy breaks down, not because she regrets her decision, but because she knows she has hurt someone who genuinely loved her. Jack reminds her that doing the right thing often hurts the most, and choosing Heartland doesn't make her weak. It makes her honest. Still, Amy can't shake the fear that this heartbreak is only the beginning of the consequences she must face. Lou, hearing what happened, rushes to Amy with a mixture of relief and worry. She is glad Amy didn't abandon the ranch, but she also knows Nathan won't simply fade out of their lives. Heartland is too small, too connected, and the emotional wound too deep. Katie and Dex try to comfort Lindy, who senses the tension even without knowing the full story. Lindy quietly asks if Nathan will still visit, and Amy struggles to find the right answer. She doesn't want to lie, but she also doesn't want to promise something she can't control. By afternoon, word spreads across Hudson. Amy ended the engagement before it even began. Opinions circulate, some support her, others criticize her. But the only thing that truly matters now is that Amy finally chose her path, and that choice has set off a chain reaction. Nathan's heartbreak turns into distance. Distance turns into nuance. And silence turns into the kind of unresolved tension that can fracture families, friendships, and futures. As the day ends, Amy stands on the ranch she fought so hard to protect. She feels both free and terrified, knowing that season 20 will not be about a wedding. It will be about everything that breaks and rebuilds in the aftermath. And the question that hangs over Heartland now is not who Amy will marry, but whether the ranch can survive the emotional storm she has just unleashed.